Speed. I am speed. A few animals in this world have evolved specifically designed bodies to go as fast as animally possible. Today, we're going to explore what it takes to be the fastest alive, and you better hold on. First things first, let's actually meet our speed record holders. For prior comparison, the average male human running speed is 13 kilometers an hour, and the fastest recorded non-enhanced human, Usain Bolt, hit a top speed of 44 kilometers an hour, which in and of itself is insane. From here, we all know that the fastest animal on land is the cheetah, and let me tell you, with an estimated top speed of around 120 kilometers per hour, the cheetah runs faster than I'm allowed to drive, even on the Waikato Expressway. That's a very specific joke to New Zealand. Now, the fastest animal in water is a lot less clear. Sailfish, swordfish, and marlin have all been claimed to be the fastest animals in the water, but one look at their Wikipedia page where these speeds are recorded, and ouch. In a peer-reviewed study published in 2016, it was demonstrated that despite previous claims of swimming over 100 kilometers an hour, these fish were actually unlikely to be able to swim any faster than 30 kilometers an hour. And going from 100 down to 30, that's a 70% reduction. I'm really good at maths. Common dolphins, on the other hand, may or may not be the fastest animal in the water. They have an estimated top swimming speed at around 55 kilometers an hour, and while I can't find a peer-reviewed article making this speed claim, I also can't find a peer-reviewed article outright calling it a myth either, so it's one step better than the sailfish. It's also not that fast by comparison to the other animals we're looking at today, so I think we'll look at speed underwater another time, and focus on animal land and airspeed records for this video. Speaking of the airspeed record, this is the fastest animal on Earth, the peregrine falcon. The top speed is not actually estimated, as the pilot, freediver, and falconry trainer Ken Franklin skydived along with his pet peregrine falcon, and they reached 389 kilometers an hour, which is faster than I can go on the Waikato Express. So how do they go so fast? There are a few fundamentals that every animal needs to have in order to reach these speeds in their respective realms. The first requirement you must meet in order to go fast, let alone move at all, is to be able to anticipate your movement. Proprioception is a sense that the majority of animals have, including us. It's also referred to as kinesthesia, or a part of general spatial awareness, and it's one of those senses that doesn't fit neatly into the 5 common senses that we teach to children. It isn't really a 6th sense, as the majority of animals have many more senses than just 5, including us, but it is one of the many invisible, passive senses that we have that allow us to navigate our environment. This is your body's ability to sense your own movement, the reaction to your actions, and your location as a result of that movement. It exists every time you make a move in any muscle. Think about it like this. When you go to take a step, you can anticipate the ground under your feet, the force that you need to push with in order to take that step, and where your body will end up after taking that step. This is because we have proprioceptors in our bodies, which are neurons that detect joint position, movement, and estimated load required to be able to move in the way our brain commands. Together, these receptors can form reflex circuits, with motor neurons that are designed to provide rapid feedback, and they in turn control things like your muscle movement to follow the directions that you give from your brain. These do about 1 million automatic calculations faster than you can do an actual calculation in your head. Not me though, I'm really good at maths. This is the first necessary ingredient in building the fastest animals alive, and it's not the only passive internal process required. You also need a devastatingly powerful metabolism. This one's kind of obvious on the surface. It's very, you need your organs to work in order to move. But these species have hyper-metabolisms, far beyond most animals. It's actually strange to point this out because relative to the majority of the animal kingdom, all birds and mammals have hypermetabolisms, including us. Many reptiles have incredibly slow heart rates for most of their lives, and invertebrates like bugs and mollusks have a huge range of heart structures, some that operate in super bizarre ways. Sometimes they even have multiple hearts per animal or no heart at all. But even in mammals, cheetah have abnormally high heart rates. The interesting thing here is that the cheetah's heart rate doesn't drop after they have stopped and started eating. During a chase, a cheetah's heart can reach 200 to 250 beats per minute in just a few seconds. When resting, this drops down to 120 beats per second, which is about the same as the average human in the middle of a jog. After finishing their sprint, their heart rate remains high to help with recovery, as cheetah have fast twitch muscle fibers. These are muscles that primarily rely on an oxygenless metabolism. These kinds of muscles can produce very fast bursts of energy, but fatigue a lot faster than muscles that use oxygen due to lactic acid buildup. If you remember the last time you went for a long enough run that your thighs were burning the next day, it's the same experience, but cheetah enter a state where their legs should be on fire after a few seconds, which makes it incredibly difficult for them to start a second chase if their prey got away the first time. Despite these oxygenless muscles, all of these animals still need to breathe while moving at high speeds. Peregrine falcons have air sacs attached to their lungs that keep their lungs inflated even while exhaling. This means that when they begin to move at high speeds, they get a continuous one-way flow of air into their systems, and they don't run out of oxygen while pushing speeds over 300 kilometers per hour. And now we get to an interesting reason for high metabolisms here: thermoregulation. You need to control your body temperature while moving quickly. For cheetah, this means retaining that high metabolic rate after slowing down, so they can increase blood flow to the skin. This can aid in reducing their body temperature. Falcons, on the other hand, live in very cold environments, that being super high in the air. In their case, having a high metabolism that heats them up can actually lead to greater control of their muscles in these cold atmospheric climates. Better control over your muscles is vital to surviving high speeds, as the one thing you need to be able to do if you travel at high speeds is stop. If you can't stop, then you can't drive, baby. I don't make the rules. Cheetah have just about everything a land animal can have to stop quickly. In fact, they only need about 6 to 9 meters to come to a full stop from their top speed. For reference, humans need 7 to 10 meters to come to a full stop from our top speed, which means that we take longer to stop than an animal running at more than twice our speed, and I'm talking about a top athlete with specialized shoes on, not a run-of-the-mill human being. There are several key adaptations that the cheetah has. They have a long tail for balance, ensuring that the cheetah doesn't fall during rapid acceleration or deceleration. On their feet, their foot pads, also known as cat beans, are less rounded than other species of cat, which provides better traction and stability. The claws are only semi-retractable, unlike most cats that have fully retractable claws, and when cheetah claws are semi-retracted, they actually act in the same way that sprigs or track spikes work on the bottom of athletes' shoes. Cheetah also have an incredibly flexible spine. This allows them to draw their back legs far in front so that they can use their vastly more powerful hind leg muscles to stop. It also means that they take less impact on their skeleton upon sudden deceleration, saving them a world of hurt the next day. On top of this, their calf muscles, especially the gastrocnemius, are basically shock absorbers that provide power for both acceleration and deceleration, and their gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, and gluteus minimus muscles are excellent at stabilizing their hips and pelvis on stopping. But a cheetah's ability to stop isn't the reason you clicked this video. As we all know, acceleration is the speed at which something gains speed. It's how fast something gets faster. In the world of cars, there is a classic test of acceleration called the 0 to 60. This is the time it takes for a car to go from full stop to 60 miles per hour, or around 100 kilometers per hour. The Cheetah can do this 0 to 60 in approximately 3 seconds. This is about the same acceleration time as an Audi R8 V10 Plus or a Lamborghini Huracan Performante, meaning that I'm unlikely to beat a Cheetah off the bat in my 2006 Ford Focus. Even on the way. In order to achieve this unbelievable acceleration, a cheetah's hind legs are built purely for power. They have a spine that bends and stretches to allow for these huge strides, as we established earlier, where their hind legs are flung ahead of their center of mass to generate the most thrust. This form of stride is called a double suspension gallop, which is where the animal moves in 2 phases, where all 4 feet are off the ground simultaneously. First, the cheetah launches itself forward with its back legs. It flies forward before reaching out with the front legs to catch itself. Then, the back legs hit the ground and push off again. Each stride will cover between 6 to 7 meters, and they will perform this up to 3 or 4 times per second, in some cases reaching speeds of 29 meters a second, meaning that they could run over the top of 16 human beings lying down in a single second. When you move at these speeds, you also have to take into account what you're moving through. Peregrine falcons, on the other hand, use their wings, which is not a surprise, they are birds, but surviving their extreme speeds take a certain amount of control over air resistance. Air isn't nothing. Every move we make pushes through it, and so we have to look at aerodynamics to figure out how to move through it with the least resistance, which is especially true in the case of birds. The peregrine falcon is perfectly adapted to reduce drag across its body as it drops. This bird doesn't reach these speeds by increasing its current speed. It fundamentally alters the effects of gravity and air resistance on its own body. This is kind of convoluted, so let me explain. This top speed is accumulated by being so aerodynamic that it alters its own terminal velocity. Terminal velocity is the term for the maximum speed at which something can fall in Earth's atmosphere. It is basically a constant battle between gravity pulling something down and the air resistance slowing an object's fall. By becoming potentially the most aerodynamic animal on the planet, the peregrine falcon can extend its terminal velocity because it greatly reduces that air resistance on itself. They even have specialized nostril shapes so that the air resistance they encounter at these speeds don't explode their lungs. Peregrine falcons use this speed to hunt other birds mid-air. As they enter the dive, they outfly any bird alive and dive from above, spreading their wings and claws well before hitting the bird. This takes an impressive amount of proprioception, that sense of their own movement that we spoke about earlier, to estimate when to pull out of the dive. They spread their wings in a method called air braking to suddenly increase their air resistance. The way that peregrine falcons move is almost backwards from what we understand as speed generation. They don't stop by putting in less effort with their muscles like we do, they stop by exerting more effort to fundamentally reduce their terminal velocity. In other words, they are the fastest animal on the planet because they don't do anything to change their current speed, they change their maximum possible speed. They exist in a constant state of terminal velocity for the duration of this dive. For those of us who are really good at maths, we can actually calculate the terminal velocity at each point of a peregrine falcon's dive using this equation. If we swap the M is for mass. I was on such a roll. As we've seen with the cheetah and the peregrine falcon, it takes everything to be the fastest. Your entire body must be built for speed, from your skeleton right through to the inlet of your nostrils. Animals that exist at the extremes must be built for the extremes. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Ben the Quasi-Ecologist. This is the Natural World Explored, and until next time, Stay curious, friends. Also, I launched a website for Explored. Go check it out in the description. So let me know if you'd be interested in any animal-based merch and what kind of merch you might be into. Thank you, as always, to my Rangers and the Explorers Guild for sponsoring this episode. I genuinely love you.